Hi, everyone. I'm here with the Vice President of Retail Marketing at Cox Automotive, Greta Crowley. Today in the driver's seat, we're discussing car buyer satisfaction. And Greta, this really is your area of expertise. You oversee B2B and B2C marketing strategy for Cox Automotive, including industry-leading retail brands Auto Trader and Kelley Blue Book. And within those integrated marketing efforts, you're helping drive revenue and transformation across the portfolio, aligning product, content, and media to business goals. Greta, thanks for joining us today from Atlanta and welcome back to In the
Oh, thank
Driver's Seat.
you. Yes, no, I know it's been a minute. Thank you for having me.
It's been a few minutes.
Yeah.
So Cox Automotive's latest study shows that overall car buyer satisfaction is at an all-time high. This
Yep.
has a lot to do with a heightened focus on the shopping experience. And we know dealers, lenders, and manufacturers are investing in enhancements like AI, personalization, and automation. Clearly, it's paying off. Greta, what do you think has been the most critical element behind this improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you said it best. I mean, there has been so much transformation in our industry with AI and technology, and not just this industry, but just, shopping in general. But what we're seeing in our study is that the satisfaction can really be attributed to a focus on the entire consumer journey. And I was thinking about last time we talked a few years ago. It's the same story, right? Focusing on the consumer is what we really believe will win at the end of the day. It's everything from AI driven tools that are streamlining processes. It's personalized interactions, and every step is getting more consumer centric. And that's exactly what our study showed. There was actually four main parts that I wanted to make sure to share with you is that the first one is that we're seeing that consumers are really feeling more well informed. They're building trust in the process. They're starting to feel more confident, which is great. The second one is that they're receiving more and more transparent communication. They understand where they are in the process. They understand expectations of what's to come next. So that starts to build that trust in a different way. Now, the third one, which I actually was really excited to see and was surprised, was that consumers are feeling supported by dealership staff more than ever before. They're seeing them more as a partner and seeing a relationship start to build, which I think is awesome. So that tells me like our industry has really been focused on that entire journey, but making progress in a different way. Now the last and then top of the list is that consumers are feeling more in control. So I don't think that's surprising if they're feeling, they're getting more communication, they're feeling more, in control, but they're also feeling that partnership from dealers. So I couldn't be more excited about what we're seeing in the study and that we're seeing this shift around consumer centric in a different way.
That is great to hear, Greta. So, with satisfaction on the rise and consumers feeling more empowered, how should dealers evolve their approach to keep pace, not just with automotive trends, but with the broader shifts in retail and technology? Because, you mentioned just the fact that they're enjoying being in control.
Yeah, a great question because I think like I was saying a couple minutes ago, I mean, the big thing is that I mean, shoppers are being shaped in every industry that they're shopping in. I think about my experiences with Amazon, with Target, shopping online, picking up in store. It's not just the automotive industry, but the expectations now are that if I can get that experience there, I should be able to get in the automotive industry. And so that's where we really got to continue to embrace technology and AI, and dealers need to continue to aim to not just meet, but truly exceed the experiences in a different way. And I think, at Cox Automotive, that has been our focus. We've talked about that for years, but we want to make sure that the shopper journey is relevant, that it's personalized, that it's seamless, and truly that it can be fun. And that's where we've even tried to have fun with attention grabbing moments. We were talking as we were prepping for this, but we just launched a massive new campaign for Auto Trader with Keenan Thompson. It's our third time using him. He has been an incredible partner, but the whole point of that is really showing consumers that you can have fun in the shopping and buying process. You can have personalized experiences. And you can do it with a little heart and humor as Keenan shows us. But the big thing is we know that the process, there's going to be ups and downs, but if we can truly focus together, across the industry, use what we're learning from different industries and focus on a consumer winning experience, that is what will set us up for success in the long run.
Yes. I mean, I have to say, I don't know what the brief was for those new commercials,
Yeah.
Greta, but I have seen the latest Keenan Thompson commercials. I know they're hot off the press for Auto
Yes.
Trader. And I would imagine, how would you envision that very well integrated high tech shopping experience in a commercial? Somehow You guys have done it. It's very well done, and
Oh,
it's
well,
fun,
thank
like you
thank
said.
you. No,
So,
it was a blast to shoot. The team did an incredible job. I mean, we're talking about research today. It was all led by research of what consumers really wanted at the end of the day. Thank you.
yeah, I thought it was really great. So the big picture is positive, which is amazing, but we should
Yep.
talk about a few persistent pain points in the car shopping journey. The study shows that the biggest ones are trade-in offers,
Yeah.
F&I, and
Yeah.
idle time. Let's dive into these, starting with trade-in offers. What is it about trade-in interactions that creates a barrier for some buyers?
Well, it's funny. I recently just bought a car and I went through the whole process and I'm in the industry and there were even friction points for me. And I would tell you that I felt the dealer had the same thing, but trade-ins was one of them. It's interesting because I think we all love our cars a lot and we think that they're worth a certain amount. And so what we have seen in our study is that consumers really want fair, they want quick evaluations, but they want to understand how the dealership got to the offer that they're, giving to the consumer. But if it's under what the consumer expected, if it took longer than what the consumer expected, that's where the trust really starts to break down. And our study actually shows that at the trade in moment, that's the most critical. We see almost a quarter of the shoppers completely drop out of the shopping and buying experience holistically. Um, and, again, not surprising if it's not what they expected. And so that's where we really believe transparency has to be top of mind here. Consumers want to know exactly like, how did you get to that offer? Why did you value my car that way? And that's where we can use tools, AI and data driven intelligence, things like Viato or Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. That's how you start to drive insights in a totally different way and share that transparency with the consumer so that they feel confident in that next step.
Yeah, I mean, it really can be another form of sticker shock for the customer, not knowing what goes into the trade-in offer. It's such a pivotal moment in the journey.
Absolutely. It helps you pencil your deal. It helps you understand like where the cost really is.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we totally understand why shoppers want transparency and
Yeah.
assurance at every step, and that's a big one. Okay, another pain point from the survey was the F&I process. It can
Yeah.
be intimidating for
Yes.
customers. What best practices have emerged to help make this part less stressful?
Yes, I think, it's funny thinking about this and what has traditionally we've seen with consumers, that they get into the office, they found the car of their dreams, they've penciled their deal. Now they've got to go in the F&I office and they start getting asked questions on like, should you add on this? Should you do this? And it's like, I don't really understand what that product's going to do. I don't know what the value is. And it's a whole nother cost. Again, to your point, I mean, it's not having the transparency. And so, what's amazing though is that truly the F&I experience has really evolved and we've been doubling down on that at Cox Automotive because what we really believe is that if you can come up with new, integrated solutions using automation in a totally different way, you can win for the consumer and the F&I manager. And what I mean by that is like consumers can really get a full digital experience and it gives them the flexibility in how they want to complete the deal. So maybe you're at a point when in the deal where you don't want to talk about add-on products today, but you want to consider it later. No problem. We'll meet you where you are. And I think from an F&I manager perspective, we have so much research showing that the F&I manager, they take on massive tasks of, trying to make sure that every, number is correct and making sure that they're meeting the consumer where they are. But at the end of the day, those manual tasks, if we can automate those, which is what we've been focusing on from a Cox Automotive perspective, eliminate that, drive more efficiency for them, they can spend their time, building their relationship with the consumer. They also can look at profitability in a totally different way. There's a lot of money left on the table at this point for the dealer because of that consumer relationship and trust.
Yeah, I mean, Greta, I think we've both seen it done both ways. And you're
Yep.
right. Like it has evolved. And, when you've seen it done in this new way, it does make such a difference to the customer. And of course, the F&I manager. I've talked to a lot of dealers, and, maybe this is common knowledge, but that is really when the sale actually, is put to
It
bed,
can,
so,
yeah,
so
it
to
can fall
speak.
apart. I mean, it
Yeah.
goes back to like, waiting time, which is, I know, another point in the study too, but absolutely, that's where trust can start to break down.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just giving the customer the flexibility to review it when they want,
Yep.
understanding those cost breakdowns, because, without understanding how much things cost, it is really hard for a customer to say yes at that point. So it turns a stressful moment into an empowering one, just having that new way of doing things in
Agree.
the F&I office, right? And one
Yep.
of the other pain points is idle time, or what we
Yeah.
call dead time, the
Yep.
waiting that
Yep.
happens to consumers during the car shopping journey. Why is idle time so critical, and how can retailers address it?
Yeah, it's funny because during our readout internally, when we were talking about this study and idle time came up, we were laughing because it's like, of course, idle time would start to break trust in that. I mean, it's the way you said, it's the dreaded time of waiting. It could be while your vehicle's getting inspected, it could be doing paperwork. You literally could be just sitting there waiting for updates because you don't know what your next steps are. And that's where this transparency and communication really start to play a huge part in it. Because if you can set my expectation that, hang on, you've got two more steps, it's going to take you 40 minutes, that starts to put my mind at ease of like, you understand my time, what I'm really after here. And that's where this collaborative idea really starts to come to life in a different way. We're talking about the relationships that we saw, throughout the study and having a knowledgeable partner. We've introduced new tools like Deal Central, where that you could really interact with the dealer and the consumer together in a collaborative environment. And that's where we have seen, let the consumer start online, but when they come in the dealership, they can pick up exactly where they left off. The dealer can pull out an iPad, they can pencil the deal together. That way, the dealer is understanding what's important to the consumer. They're understanding how much time they have, how they can structure this deal to make it the best experience possible for them. And truly that's it. At the end of the day, we're seeing, if you can provide data and automation, if you can provide transparency, that's going to give the consumers the trust and drive up that higher satisfaction. Now, the second part of it, which is interesting when we talk to clients, Emma, is that they don't believe that. They think that if you give the consumers more control and allow them to do all of these things, they'll lose control and they'll lose profitability. But that's truly the opposite. They're starting to build that relationship, creating a lifetime customer who wants to not only buy from them, they want to tell their friends and family about that dealership. They want to service with them. That's what we're after at the end of the day, is a real win-win situation for the consumer and the dealer.
They want to be part of the process at every step. And I think,
Yeah.
you mentioned Amazon earlier, and I think people in other industries might not understand how complex it is
Oh
to
my
make
gosh.
these things fall in line. Like you mentioned, Deal Central. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, buying something on Amazon that's there the next day. Like it really is quite complex
Oh
to
my,
bring all those things
it's so
together.
complex. Yeah, like you said, you've got the trade in, you've got to find the specific vehicle, you have your financing, or cash down payment, like, are you financing the whole thing? There are so many nuances to your point, and that's where, if we can make the dealership's life easier so that they can focus on just building a relationship at the end of the day, that is our goal.
Greta, it's been so great having you with us
Yes,
today.
thank you for having me.
As you know, because you've done this before, it's a tradition to close out each episode with our 0 to 60 challenge over the
All
next
right, I'm
60
ready.
seconds. Okay, 60 seconds. We'd like to give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little better again. So, are you ready for the challenge this time?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
What's one piece of advice you would give a young professional who wants to
Mm.
pursue a career in this industry?
Good question. I would say be curious, ask questions. I know that's probably cliche, but I have always been told by every mentor, like, raise your hand if you don't understand or you want clarity or you're just interested. That really starts to show that you want to support your clients better, support the business better, be the best partner you can. That's what I would focus on.
That is great advice, because sometimes it is a little frightening to ask
Yes. Yep,
questions
for sure.
when you're new and you're young. Okay, last question. What did you want to be when you grew up, other than the vice president of retail marketing at Cox
Yes,
Automotive?
other than that, I feel like my mom probably wrote this question in. I wanted to be a meteorologist. I grew up in Florida, so we had all of the storms and the hurricanes, and I'm such a nerd. I thought the best part about it was all of the data and the modeling and how they were on TV, they were talking math, they were showing all the models. We still joke today, like the Weather Channel is just down the street in Atlanta. And if they ever called, I would happily go down there and give everybody updates, local on the eights, as they like to talk about it.
Amazing. Well, I do kind of see a link between marketing and weather and
Yeah,
certainly that data, that love of
predictions,
data.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, thanks again, Greta, and we will see you all next time for In the Driver's Seat.
Thank you.